Hey, it's Joe AMoia, founder and creator of GPSforLove.com. Have you ever been interested in a guy? Maybe you're out at a bar, at a restaurant, and you saw him from a distance and you're like, you know what? Oh, he's cute. I want to get to know him. And then a part of you said, you actually started to walk over, and then all of a sudden that fear kicked in and you're like, oh, I can't. What if he doesn't like me? What if I'm not his type? What if he says something and he rejects me? And then what happens is you scurry away. Or maybe there was someone that you worked with, or it was a friend of a friend that you knew kind of well, and you started thinking of him as a love interest, and you wanted to let him know, but you were afraid that he wouldn't feel the same way, and so you never made that move. You never let him know. Well, if either of these scenarios have happened to you, I want you to pay close attention, because in this video, you're going to learn the 5 ways to show a guy that you're interested without feeling desperate, without being desperate. So let's talk about the first one. The first one is to simply show interest in him. I know it's common sense, but yes, if you want a guy to be interested in you, show him that you're interested. Now, how do you do that? Well, it's very simple. You simply have a conversation with him. You talk to him about himself. You engage him in a conversation. And when you do that, what happens if he's going to be interested in you, he's going to go, you're so nice. You're attractive, you're smart, you're funny, you're witty, whatever it may be. You know what? Now you've piqued my interest. Now I want to get to know you more. So that's the first step. The second step, this is if you're out in a bar or a restaurant or a social setting and you're with there's strangers there. What you want to do is simply make eye contact and smile. It's so simple, but I can't tell you what that does to us guys. If we're out and you're an attractive woman to us and you look at us and you smile, that is like ding, 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 ding. Those are like the signals that let us know here's an attractive woman and she's interested. She's looking at me and she's smiling at me. And for us men, that's all we need. It's like permission to come over and talk. And I can't tell you how this one simple thing works so well. So again, tip number 2 is you want to make eye contact and smile. Now, the third way is that you want to put yourself in a guy's path. What do I mean by that? Well, if you know that the guy goes to a certain gym, okay, he goes to a certain place to buy coffee. There's a certain place that he eats his lunch, certain cafeteria that he goes to, whatever it may be. You want to put yourself in his path. I'll give you an example. There's a time in my life where I was interested in a woman, and I knew on Tuesday nights she went to this club. And so what did I do? I showed up Tuesday night at that club. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing here? And it started a conversation. And that conversation led to having a few drinks, going on a date. And then we wound up dating for almost a year. And it was a really good relationship, just didn't work out. So putting yourself in a guy's path so that he kind of notices you, like, hey, you know what? That gets his attention and it gets him interested. Now, the fourth way is that you want to tell a mutual friend or a colleague. Again, let's face it, a lot of us don't like rejection. We don't want to put ourselves out there because what may happen. And so when you tell a mutual friend or a colleague, what happens is that they can then go to that guy and say, hey, you know what? What do you think of my friend? Or you know what? Mary likes you. So I'll give you a perfect example. I was out many years ago when I was single, and we're out with some friends, and we're just hanging out, having a good time. And at the end of the night, one of my friends comes up to me and says, hey, what do you think of my friend Lisa? And I'm like, she seemed nice. Why? She's like, oh, she really likes you. She thinks you're cute. And I'm like, really? Okay. Wasn't getting that, but that's cool. And what that did is just gave me permission to go, hey, yeah, I'll go out with her. Give me her number. And I wouldn't have done that because I was just kind of clueless. I was just out being a guy, doing my thing, and wasn't really looking for anything at that point. I was just out to have a good time with some friends. And she wasn't like my type where I was like, oh, I was overwhelmed and, she was beautiful and just, that amazing chemistry was there. But she was decent. And we wound up dating. And again, it was another great experience. But never would have happened if a mutual friend or colleague didn't go up and say, hey, you know what? What do you think about my friend? Or my friend is interested in you. Again, it's just to get a guy's attention to let him know that you're interested. Then his job is to follow up. Now, the last one, and this is a great one. It's one of my secret tips, okay? One of my secret strategies is if there's a guy that you're interested in and you're afraid of being rejected, like you don't want to go out and say, hey, you want to go out sometime, have an excuse to ask him out. So how do you do that? Well, here it goes. You invite him to an event. Now, that event can be a sporting event, a baseball game, basketball game, hockey game, tennis match, whatever it may be. It could be a concert or it could be a movie, somewhere that you would have to go. And how it goes is, hey, Bob, I don't know if you'd be interested, but, someone gave me some tickets to blank. And, I don't know if you'd like to go. Now, see, what you're doing is you're just putting it out there to let him know, hey, I've got this event. Would you like to go? Now, if he's going to be interested in you, he'll say, sure, why not? Or interested in going to the event. And that gives you an opportunity to get to know each other. Because, in that date, you might find out, what? I really don't like this guy. He's attractive, but he's really not my type. Or you might go out and say, you know what? Oh, after being out with him, I really like him. And vice versa. He might go out with you and go, hey, after going to this concert with you and, having this good time, I really like you and I want to get to know you more and I want to go out with you again. Because that's really the purpose, is to get a guy's interest to see if he wants to go out with you again and you want to go out with him. And this one works really, really well. And what's cool about it is you don't actually have to get the tickets until he says yes. So you always want to make sure that the event is available, okay, and that there are tickets available before you ask him out. Now, I know there's some of you saying, you have integrity like me. It's like, yeah, but you know what? What if he asks who gave me the tickets? Okay, you say a friend. You don't have to say who that friend is. Most of the time, he's not going to ask because he doesn't care. No one ever asked, who gave you the tickets. I use this all the time. And all you can say is someone gave me the tickets, because that someone could be you. You could give yourself the tickets. Right? You could be your friend. So it's not about lying and saying your cousin, because I'm not a big believer in lying. I'm a big believer in having integrity. But you don't have to reveal the whole truth. Now, you can later on if you want, but really not that big a deal. But what's most important is you put the offer out there and then give him the ability to decide if he wants to go out with you. So let's review these 5 ways of getting a guy interested in you without coming across. See, the beautiful thing is you don't come across as desperate or needy at this. It's just kind of like, hey, you know what? This is me. This is who I am. Do you want to go out? I'm interested in you. So the first one is to just show interest in him. Just engage him in a conversation. Just be yourself. Be relaxed. Be calm. And just show him that you're interested in getting to know him and getting to talk to him. The second one is smiling and making eye contact. Again, I can't tell you, that just gives us guys permission to, hey, come talk to me. I'm interested. The third is putting yourself in his path. Wherever he may go in his life, in his journey, put yourself in his path so he notices you, so you can engage him and he can engage you. The fourth is telling a mutual friend or colleague that you're interested in him, and then letting them tell him so he knows, oh, she's interested in him. Great. I'm interested in her. I want to know more. Or give me a number. We'll see. And then the last one is inviting him to an event. Now, let me preface this by saying you could do all of these things perfectly, and if it's not the right guy, he's not going to be interested in you. But that's okay. See, you got to learn not to take it personally. This is the way I look at it. Is this guy is looking for a particular flavor. Like, he's going to the ice cream section in the supermarket and he's looking, he's like, I'm really hungry. I really love, and say he loves Rocky Road, and he picks up Rocky Road. Well, that doesn't mean that chocolate chip sucks. It doesn't mean that chocolate chip is inferior. It doesn't mean that chocolate chip isn't good enough. It's just that he's not looking for chocolate chip, and that's okay. And conversely, it works the same way. You are looking for your flavor. So part of dating and putting yourself out there is realizing that, you know what? I'm chocolate chip, and the guy might want Rocky Road. There's nothing wrong with me. And so when you understand it and you look at it like that, you realize he's not rejecting me. This has nothing to do with me. It's just I'm not the flavor that he's looking for. And I can't tell you how well that will serve you in your dating life. Now, hopefully these tips work for you, but I'd love to hear your feedback. Now, before you give me your feedback, I want you to hit the like button below, share this with your friends, and make sure you subscribe to our channel so you can receive the next video when it's available. And if you have any questions or comments, again, make sure you post those below as well. I read them all. It's been an honor and privilege to share this time with you. I'll see you in the next video. Much love.